everyone, my name is Hannah and this is again another gentle yoga practice. I'm going to assume that you have a little bit of knowledge already about proper alignment and safety when it comes to moving, and proper alignment and safety when it comes to at least a few yoga postures. This class will move a little bit faster than the first one. To begin, we're going to move around a little bit to prepare your body to be in this upright seated position for several minutes while we work with opening pranayama techniques. So first, make sure you have maybe a couple of towels or blankets with you and set them aside somewhere near your mat. Bring your pelvis towards the back side of your mat so you can lengthen your legs out long in front of you. Start to move them, wave them. Feel the flesh move around your bones as you wave your feet. Start to breathe deeply in and out through your nose. When you're ready, pause that, move your ankles around a little bit, rolling them. And then eventually bend your knees, place your feet on the floor, maybe pick up your pelvis and just set it back down again. And then take your feet as wide as your mat. So wide legs here. Make sure your heels aren't like super far away from you, but your feet are like flat on the floor. And then start off with a few windshield wipers of your legs. Let your knees drift down to one direction and lift them back up and let them come down to the floor in the other direction. Several times back and forth. Press or ground down in between both hands, pointer and thumb fingers, so that like fleshy area of your palm. Press or ground down into that area to lift your heart as you do this. And then add a little bit of an arm movement. The next time your knees move to the right, lift your left arm and reach across your body towards the wall behind you. You can adjust that right arm that's on the floor in any way to better support you. Inhale, slowly unwind, bring the knees back up. Exhale, check out that next side. Twisting, exhaling as you twist. Inhale as you slowly come out back to center several times back and forth. Reaching or lengthening out through your finger webbings. And then the next time you go into your next direction, press down strongly in that hand that's on the floor. Keep your knees and shins on the ground and lift your pelvis up into the air. Lift your arms straight up, so stack your arms, and then turn your palm to face the wall that's towards your head, and then bring your bicep by your ear. Inhale, lift your arms, set your pelvis down. Do the same thing in the other direction on the next side. Nice and strong in that supporting arm. Moving with slow and controlled movements. Feeling your shoulder rotate. Last side. Breathe. Good. And then come into a cross-legged seated position. Grab your towels. Bring them behind your pelvis and sit right on the very edge. So not in the middle, right on the edge. Feel your two sits bones make contact with the ground. And then elongate from that contact. So from your pelvis, all the way up lumbar spine to mid-spine, even in your neck. How do you elongate your neck from your collarbone? Elbows heavy at your sides, shoulders relaxed. Start to breathe in and out through your nose and build up your Dirga Pranayama, your full yogic breath. Inflating your belly, your lungs, and your upper chest, And then as you exhale, pull your ribs in towards each other, and then pull your belly button in towards your spine to squeeze out any last amount of air hanging out inside. Feel free to close your eyes as you do this, or just have a very soft gaze on the floor in front of you. Pay attention to all the sensations, either small or large, that you might be feeling. Allow your curiosity and your perception to overwhelm or overtake any rumination or any reoccurring thought that your mind might be occupying itself with right now. After you take a few Dirga breaths, add on what we call Ujjayi breath, or ocean sounding breath. If this is a new technique for you, be aware of any sort of sinus or throat irritation. That could be a yellow light. Just maybe work with Dirga if that describes you. But if you're feeling good, a little bit of constriction in the top back part of your throat. And as you exhale through your nose, you'll begin to make a sound. Sounds like Darth Vader breathing in his mask, or the ocean waves coming in and out of shore. Also sounds like soft snoring. You can make the sound upon the inhale too, still breathing in and out through your nose. Also still breathing with Dirga. Just a few more breaths at your own pace. Try to maintain the length of your spine as you work with these two techniques. Another helpful analogy or metaphor, think of a drawstring around your waist. So like right around or maybe right above your belly button level. As you exhale, that drawstring is growing tighter and tighter. So it's not just your front body coming in, it's your sides coming in. It's your back body coming in. And then as you inhale, the drawstring expands in all directions. So not just a front body breathing experience. Take a few breaths with that drawstring hint, using both Dirga and Ujjayi. Just 2 more breaths. Now as we go forth in our practice, if you have to drop one of those techniques, drop Ujjayi, the second one. But I encourage you to keep at least Dirga. So when you're ready to start moving, begin to shake the head very slowly as if you were saying no. Are you still breathing with Dirga at least? Try to turn with awareness on the back of your skull instead of setting your nose left and right. So how do you turn more from the back of your head? Eventually bring your gaze back forward. Lean forward, remove your props underneath you. Set them aside, lengthen your legs out long. You might want to orient yourself on your mat so your legs can rest on the mat. And relieve your legs, your knee joints, your ankle joints. Bring some circulation, some feeling back into the lower half of your body. Breathing with Dirga, still. All right, when you're ready, once again, bend your knees. Place your feet on the ground. Take your feet wide apart. Pick up your pelvis and set it back down. Now, when you're ready, allow your knees to drift to the right. Bring them all the way to the floor. So your left knee is making contact with your right foot's heel. Put your right hand firmly on the ground and reach your left hand towards the wall behind you. Take one breath here, and then set the left hand all the way down to the ground. Now, your arms are shoulder-width distance apart. So think like push-up position here. If you want more sensation, walk your hands further away from your knees. So more to the right. If you want less sensation, walk them to the left, towards your knees. With the palms spread wide, exhale as you draw your elbows in towards your lower ribs and lower your spine. Inhale as you slowly come up. We're just going to do a few push-ups here. You don't have to come all the way down to the floor. But keep breathing. When you're ready, slowly, safely, come all the way down onto your forearms. Your elbows right underneath your shoulders. Fingers still spread wide, forearms parallel with each other. And then your heel, your right heel, just give it a little bit more of a press into that left knee. So it's like the top of your knee, like actually on your femur bone, like very close to your knee joint. And then lengthen your spine from that point. Try to look directly down at the floor to lengthen the back of your neck and unshrug your shoulders if they're up in your ears or up towards your ears. Take huge, deep breaths here. Notice just the different sensations that you can feel breathing deeply in this twist than when you were sitting upright with a neutral spine. When you're ready to come out, slide your hands very slowly towards you to lift your upper body. One more time, deep breath, and then unwind yourself. Bring your left hand back. Lift your knees up. Any little adjustments that you need to do before we get to the next side, go ahead and do them. And when you're ready, send the knees to the left. The right knee makes contact with the left foot's heel. Right arm reaches around. Adjust your left hand and your left arm in any way that you need to before you set the right hand on the floor. Arms shoulder-width distance apart. Palms flat on the floor. 3 little mini push-ups here. Pulling the elbows in towards the lower ribs. Slowly lifting and slowly lowering. And then with a long, juicy exhale, send your forearms, your elbows down to the floor in your reclined twist. Elbows right underneath shoulders, forearms parallel with each other, a little bit of a heel press into the top of your knee, and then lengthen your spine from that point. Remember, deep belly breaths here. When you're ready to release, pull your hands back towards yourself. Lift yourself up. One last lengthening process here of your spine. And then unwind yourself by reaching your right arm back. Lift your knees up. Bring your legs together. Maybe send them side to side a little bit before you grab onto the lower half of your body. Round your spine, bow your head, rock a little side to side. Keep on breathing. All right, from here, we're moving into table pose or hands and knees, but before we do that, let's work on your wrists a little bit. So bend your elbows, make a few soft fists, and start to really explore your wrist joints, their movements. Breathing with Dirga. Go each direction a few times. And then shake this out. Add your towel underneath your knees. Remember all of your hand and wrist alignment cues. I'm going to turn around. And then we're going to work with the movements of the spine. So starting off with cat and cow. Move your pelvis first. Tuck your tailbone in between your legs. Round your spine. Separate your shoulder blades. Exhale, lift your tailbone towards the sky, drop your belly. And then as you lift the back of your skull towards the ceiling, drop your heart really far down in between your shoulder blades so your shoulder blades can come together. And then go in the other direction. So going back and forth between flexion and extension of your spine. When you do this back bend, try not to jam all of the curve in your lumbar spine, but how do you get curve in your mid-spine? So like in between your shoulder blades. Find out when it feels better for you to inhale. Maybe it's when you round your spine. Maybe it's when you go through your back bend. But choose a position or choose a movement and then stick with it for a few repetitions. And then come back to a neutral spine. When you're ready, bring your hands a little bit closer together. Keep your left hand where it is. Reach your right arm out to the right and then all the way up towards the sky. Stack your arms and then bring the hand right back down and switch sides. Just a few times in each direction. Feel your shins press into the floor like a continuous press. It doesn't have to be super strong, but just something to ground the lower half of your body. When you're ready, bring both hands to the earth. Any little wriggles for your spine. If you need a break for your wrists, sit on your calves or come up on your shins and roll your wrists a few times. And come back to your table. Nice strong table. Elbows, remember, keep them micro bent at all times. And then bring your awareness to your tailbone. Swing or wag your tailbone to the right. And take a look above your right shoulder and check out that side of your pelvis. Come back to neutral, look at the floor, and get the next side. Swing the tailbone to the left. Look over and above the left shoulder. Check out that side of your pelvis. And go back to center. Just a few times in each direction. Good. All right, come back to neutral. Remove your blanket. We're moving into down dog next. Adho Mukha Shavasana. Go ahead and give your wrist, your hands some movement, and then crawl up towards the top portion of your mat. Now, hands and wrists, especially here in this position, very important. Fingers spread nice and wide. As wide as your mat almost, without like your hands coming off of your mat. Your hands are like slightly externally fan out. Knees right underneath hips. Tuck your back toes under. Lift your knees a hair off the floor. Engage belly muscles. Try to keep your neck in line with the rest of your spine as you hold here and breathe deeply. Now, without lifting your pelvis, slide it back. Ground down in between your pointer and thumb fingers and straighten your knees. Now, once you're here, maybe walk your feet back or forward, depending on what you need. And continue to ground down in between pointer and thumb. Keep your knees bent. Keep your elbows bent slightly. Bring your chin in towards your chest and then lengthen your neck out of your collarbone. Pull your shoulder blades in together slightly. Breathe deeply. Here, maybe you would like to pedal the heels, which is a matter of bringing one heel to the floor and lifting the other, bending the knees. And then eventually come back to a still position, slowly, safely. Walk your feet towards your hands or your hands towards your feet, or maybe a little bit of both, and come to this forward fold. Now your legs are hip-width distance apart, feet flat on the floor. Your spine is descended over your lower body. Your knees are bent, so don't lock your knees. Arms, they can hang. You can grab onto your elbows, but definitely let your head be heavy, looking in between your knees at the wall behind you, not the floor, the wall. Breathe into your side lungs as you lift your tailbone towards the sky. Now safely coming up, so keep your belly muscles engaged. Hands on your femur bones, pull your elbows in, lift up halfway, knees bent. Take a moment here to come back to a stabilized state. And then inhale, arms out side to side. If you're looking at the floor, you can see your thumbs and your peripherals. And then keep your back straight as you push into the floor to lift yourself all the way up. Come into this big expanded state here before you exhale and allow your arms to come on down. Once you're here and standing, take one hand to your heart, one to your belly. A few deep breaths. Release your arms, separate your feet, lift your heels. As you go through a few, what we call empty coat sleeves, your arms, they're limp, they just hit your front and back sides. And then maybe bring an arm up and across. Slow it down, come to stillness, bring your feet back underneath you. Come into a neutral stance. Go ahead and give your shoulders some movement, like some circling of your shoulders. Pause that. Go ahead and let them just rest. And then keep your spine super long, super elongated as you drop your head forward. So bring your chin just straight down into your chest. Roll your head side to side. So bring your ear to your shoulder and not your shoulder to your ear. As if you wanted to just like bring the ear to the top of your shoulder. Always roll the head forward and not back. Soften your jaw as you work with this. Breathe too. And then bring your head back forward. Inhale your head up. And then prepare for half warrior, Parshva Virabhadrasana. Begin to widen your stance. The wider your stance, the more challenging this will be. So adjust. Let's do the left leg first. Go ahead and turn your left toes, your left kneecap towards the short edge of your mat. The other leg, you can bring it in a little bit so the hip kind of turns in as well. Now, grab onto your hips, and then check out this left knee and bend and straighten it several times. As you work with this, really press down on the pinky edge side of your right foot. So everything that's on the floor, actively press it into the floor as you work with your knee movement. It should be tracking somewhere in between your second and third toe, or your first and second toe. And then the next time it is bent, right on top of your ankle, pause. Now, adjust your rib cage and your shoulders to square themselves to the wall in front of you. Keep that knee right where it is. Don't let it spill in. Now, elongate your spine, your head, your rib cage, your pelvis, all on top of each other as you lengthen your arms out side to side at your shoulder's height. So first, rotate your arm bones so your palms face the sky. Feel how that opens your shoulders, and then just your palms flip down. Keep your shoulders really wide and expanded here. Deep breaths. When you're ready to adjust the neck, look past the left middle finger. All right, breathing in Dirga Pranayama. Bring your awareness back to your legs. Can you squeeze your legs together? So they're not going to move, but the muscles that would move them, they engage to squeeze your legs together. So exact opposite idea of the splits. Continue to hold here for one more breath, one more Dirga breath. And then drop your back palm. We're moving into peaceful warrior. Flip your front palm up. Just bring the arm right up, so don't move your spine yet. And then think up and over with your rib cage as you lengthen your spine over your back thigh. Keep that front knee bent right on top of your ankle. Don't put any weight in that right hand. It's just like a placeholder, a bookmark. All of your weight is supported by your torso strength. When you're ready, inhale, come back up to half warrior. One last little look over that left middle finger, still squeezing the legs together, and then turn your head forward, lower your arms, grab your hips, take a look at that front knee, unbend it on that same track, and then turn this left foot in, turn your right foot in, bring both heels in slightly, grab your hips, try out some movements with your pelvis. All right, we're gonna go through the second side a little bit more quickly because the first side was building up alignment awareness, and you've got it now, right? So we're just gonna go right into it. So the right toes face the short edge of your mat, left foot turned in slightly. Try out a few knee bends. You can even watch your knee as you do this. Maybe exhale as you lower, inhale as you lift. The next time the knee is bent, pause. Adjust your rib cage and shoulders. Inhale, arms out side to side. Squeeze your legs together before you turn your neck. Holding here, observe everything that's going on without too much judgment on yourself. A learning experience, right? Much more interested to see if you can create a real experience for yourself rather than to see you do an Instagram version of half warrior. Dropping the back palm, flip the front up, straight up with the arm, up and over with the rib cage. Lots of strength in the torso. Keep breathing. Inhale back to half warrior. One last look over the right middle finger. And then turn the head forward. Grab your hips. Check out your front knee. Straighten it. Turn your toes in. Bring both heels in a little bit. And then circle your hips. Good. From here, try out a few coat sleeves. Nothing too crazy. All right, from here we're going to come back down onto the floor the same way we came up. So walk up towards the top portion of your mat. Coming into mountain pose. So this nice, strong, neutral stance. Inhale, arms out side to side. Turn your thumbs back. Bring them all the way up. Unshrugged shoulders here. Nice, strong belly muscles. As you lower them back down to shoulder height, turn your thumbs up towards the ceiling. Palms face forward. Bend your knees slightly. Belly muscles still strong as you come down halfway with your flat spine. Hold and hover here. Deep, deep breaths. Knees still bent. And then with an exhale, all the way to forward fold. Moving back into plank. So bend your hands, or bend your knees so generously that your hands can come to the floor and take one step back at a time into plank pose. Super invigorating posture. If you need to, set the knees on the floor for knee down plank, but still remain strong in your belly muscles and your torso. So pressing back through the heels. The pelvis is lower than your heart, but not sagging. And then push into the ground to bring your pelvis up and back. So moving into down dog, just for a breath or two. Remember, knees still bent. Elongating your neck, belly muscles strong. When you're ready, slide or shift back to plank pose. You might need to adjust the position of your feet. When you're ready, one knee comes down, the other knee comes down. Try out a few movements. And then send your pelvis to the floor on one side. Swing your legs in front of you. Prepare for your final pranayama and final meditation. So, add your blankets. Coming into your upright seated position, sitting on the edge of your prop, and when you're ready, elongate your spine. Maybe do a few neck movements, a few shoulder movements, just to drop into this idea of doing a little bit of breathing, a little bit of meditation at the end of your practice. And when you're ready, allow your spine to once again elongate and either close your eyes or have a soft gaze on the floor in front of you. And build up your Dirga Pranayama, full yogic breath. Add on Ujjayi, or ocean-sounding breath, when it feels appropriate. Constricting the top back part of your throat, making the sound upon the inhale and exhale, as if you were trying to fog a mirror upon your exhale and inhales both. Now, as you continue to cultivate both techniques, the reason we breathe with Ujjayi, it's another focusing technique for the mind. Sometimes the mind needs something audible to grasp onto in order to focus or to come to a relative stillness. So pay attention to your sound. Do you need a louder Ujjayi in order to dissolve or quiet your mind? Maybe you need a soft and subtle sound. But notice its volume, its texture, its quality, its tone, its length. Perhaps its raspiness or its smoothness. After your next exhale, let go of these two techniques and just breathe normally, moving into meditation. So once again, re-elongate any length that you might have collapsed into in your spine. And notice what's captivating your attention. Meditation is not about conquering your thoughts or squashing your tics and fidgets. It's about paying attention. So what kind of data are you receiving right now? What do you hear? What do you feel on your skin? And even though your eyes might be closed, what do you see? You can still see light and shadow, even a little bit of color on the insides of your eyelids. Is there a certain scent in your nostrils? And finally, what is being tasted on your tongue? Just noticing these things. Never running away with a story or a detail. Observing. Building up your witnessing ability without too much judgment on what it is that you witness. When you are ready to move into your Shavasana or relaxation, you're more than welcome to do that at any point in time. Attempt to not break this peacefulness that you've just built for yourself, that you've just cultivated for yourself. Also, feel free to remain in meditation if that feels more appropriate. When you do come down onto your back, please support yourself with any props. Making any adjustments in order to settle completely into the floor. Perhaps taking a large, huge breath in through the nose, long sigh out through the mouth. Perhaps taking several of these types of breaths. And then eventually, allow your body to take over your breathing, softening from head to toe. Allowing your work to now do its work in your Shavasana. Just for the next several minutes or so.